Hello, hello. How are you? I hope you're doing good. I do. So, welcome back once again to another edition of the Try It Tuesday collab series that I do with the wonderful Jeannie over at Unfiltered 50s, and of course my great friend Jessica over at Makeup with Jessica Vargas. Now, what is this series? We've gotten together and each week we each put together a video to share with you guys, and we either try something new, pull out something old from our stash and try it again, bring it back to life, or we share with y'all some tips, tricks, hacks, different things from our beauty stash. Again, each week, we'll each usually have a completely different video. So as you bop between our videos, it doesn't get monotonous. Now, this week, what I'm doing is I am basically going to share with you my personal tips, some hacks, little secrets to my foundation routine. Obviously, with mature skin, being almost 50, there are some things that I do now that I never had to do. In addition to that, I have spent months trying to find a concealer hack or trick that works for me because of, my fine lines and wrinkles right up here under my eyes. Concealer always has an issue settling in on me, getting cakey, getting crepey, all of those problems. So I'm going to also share what I've been doing that has been working. So we're going to dive right in, obviously, so this doesn't take forever. Now, either way, I always start with my basic morning skincare routine, and that consists of moisturize. Even though I have oily skin, I do moisturize, even with oily skin. It is so important to moisturize, and sometimes, we forget that, or, we're so worried about getting rid of that oil. Again, oil does break down a lot of the foundations and the makeup that we wear. So it does get very frustrating. Either way, even, no matter what you do, when it comes especially to oily skin or even combination skin, when you remove oil, always replace it with some other type of moisturizer. Otherwise, your skin is just going to overcompensate and make more oil. It's just what happens. Now, once you do whatever works for you skincare wise and stuff like that, this is driving me crazy. Lay down a good primer. And once that primer is laid down, let that sit on your skin for a little bit before you go in with your foundation. I have been the Tarte primer, the Double Duty, the hydrating primer. This has been one of my all-time favorites. I love it. Works great. I always go back to it. The NYX Marshmallow primer. This has been a newer one I started using, and I'm absolutely in love with it. And one other primer I'll share with y'all. This one I just picked up from Boxycharm pop-up. And it's the, obviously, LMS Pro Collagen Primer. It's the Insta Smooth. It's supposed to fill in like fine lines and wrinkles. It works great overall as a primer. I don't see a huge whoopie-doo difference with filling in my fine lines and wrinkles. So don't go crazy running to buy this or pay full price for it, because again, it's not like, okay. Then once your primer is set for a little bit, a couple minutes, or it's, you know, in your skin, the next thing I do is I either use my e.l.f. putty, or I have this from Tarte that I do really, really like. Yeah, Shape Tape. Pore and Prime Base. But it does look very, very similar to the e.l.f. You know, it's like it's a balm. But I do use this on my larger pores. And I started using this Hank & Henry brush. It's like almost like a paddle foundation brush. This is the Miranda brush. But I pretty much just put a little bit on the brush and press it in to my pores. You don't need to put it like all over your face. I just, like I said, press it in. Sometimes I go up kind of around my eye area just because it does help fill in some of my wrinkles a little bit. Not that much though, so. But anywhere you feel you've got, you know, kind of enlarged pores or anything like that, that's what I do. Now, the other thing I do before I lay down my foundation is I go in with an eye primer. Okay, yeah, eye primer. Ooh, no big deal, right? I have these two eye primers. One of them is Dalton, and this one is a little more pricey. This is the Makeup Revolution eye primer, and I think this one is only like $7, and it works really good too. But what you want to look for, and if you're going to try this, what you want to look for is an eye primer that, and I always put it on my finger, an eye primer that's got a lighter, creamy consistency, almost like a concealer. I put it a little dab on my fingers, and then I put the eye primer under my eyes. Where I would normally, or where I'm going to be putting my concealer. By using my fingers, the warmth of your finger helps to kind of melt the primer, and you want to press it into your under eye area. Don't push or pull too much, because again, you do not ever want to stretch that area out. Now, once I've got it tapped in nicely, okay, one thing I do is I do go in and I press a little bit harder, and I kind of wiggle up and down. And it gets that primer right into the areas kind of that I need it. Now, you just want to make sure, again, that it's in there. once you've got it all pressed in nicely, you're good. And you want that to sit a minute. Okay, moving on. Foundation. Today, I am going to be using my Tarte foundation, which I do really love this. I did try this recently for the first time. This is the Tarte Found Sealer Foundation. And it's more of a, like a medium full coverage foundation, but it feels really good on the skin. And, oh, I'm just going to pull my hair out of my face. Now, I put this on with like a foundation brush, but what I do before I start with my foundation is I spray my face lightly with setting spray before your foundation. Yeah. Really light, very lightly. Just put a thin layer of setting spray before your foundation. Then I spray my foundation brush. Just a little bit. I don't get it like really, really wet. I just spray it, you know, just a couple squirts with a fine mist. And then I put a little pump of the foundation right onto my brush. And then I start dabbing it in. And I'm going to try to do this without the camera. So I dab it around. Ugh, my hair. Pretty much just to spread it out. And get it everywhere I need it. And I pretty much, doing it this way, I only really need 2 pumps. 1 pump for each side of my face. And then once I've got it tapped pretty much everywhere, I'll then go back and very lightly, because you don't want to wipe all the foundation you just laid down. So very lightly, I blend the foundation in. And I don't go all the way up under my eyes, because that we will go back in with concealer. Then I repeat, spray again. 1 pump of foundation, and do the other side. Now, once you're done spreading that around, I go in next with my concealer. And again, because of my age, I use more of a liquid concealer, so that it doesn't get cakey. I can spread it out a lot more easy. And again, I put a dab on my finger. Now, another thing I have found when it comes to concealer, I do not use a concealer that is like 5 shades lighter than my foundation. The main reason why is because I have mature skin. I don't want, when you're brightening up your under eye area, obviously, you know, a lot of people want a very bright under eye area, right? Yeah, it's the in thing. Well, y'all, I do not want the brightness and the attention brought to my under eyes. I would prefer it just matching my skin without it standing out too much. And again, just patting it in. And then once it's pretty much almost completely blended, I go in at the final step and I press down and I do a little wiggle. Now you're not pulling your skin. You're just wiggling and using the heat from your fingertips, and you're pushing that product in so that you're kind of pretty much filling in your wrinkles. Now, you can't tell pretty much that, you know, I've got all of those fine lines and wrinkles like I normally do. But honestly, I do. I still have them. They're there, but that is how I cover them up. Here's another tip, okay? If you ever get like the crepiness or like caking or thickness in your under eye area, take some setting spray and spray it on your fingertip, right? Dab your fingertips together to get them wet with setting spray. And then dab your under eye area and get it wet. And just keep dabbing until it dries out. Don't rub. Don't rub or anything like that. Just dab that area. Once it dries, you pull your fingers away and that entire area will be completely smooth again. All that crepiness and cakiness will disappear. Shh, that's another secret for you. I know. Okay, so the next thing I do is setting powder. Now here again, aging skin, wrinkles, and stuff like that does not like powder. Because what ends up happening is it settles in your fine lines and wrinkles, especially in my under eye area. So, but because I have oily skin, I can't live without my powder, y'all. So basically what I do is, I have been using the Too Faced Born This Way powder lately. I basically get powder on my brush and then I dab it in the lid of the powder container so that it gets all the excess off and it's not like clumpy, or you don't get like a big chunk or blot of powder. And then I just dab, repeat. But as I do this, I also kind of stay away from my under eye area. Now that it's all dabbed on, I just wipe any excess off with I use a very soft, light powder brush. And then once everything is dusted off, I go back in, and then this is when I go under my eye with any leftover very light amounts of powder. I don't add any more powder to my brush. This is whatever's left over is what ends up on my under eye, and that's it. So there we go. Now, one more step that I do, and this is my full, pretty much, foundation thing. Okay. After you're powdered, everything is set, go back in with your setting spray. Give your face a good spray. And we're not done yet. Grab a makeup sponge and dab. I do wet my makeup sponge very lightly. It's not soaking wet, but it is, you know, very lightly dampened. But I go back in and press in the powder and all the last of the product with the setting spray, and voila. This pretty much sets my face for the day. I get the full coverage, you know, that I want, or the coverage level that I want, and I don't have issues with it for the rest of the day. And at this point, this is when I move on to blush, like contour, and all that stuff, and that will be coming in another video. So keep an eye out for that. But that is it. Let me know if you try any of these tips or tricks or anything, and if they work for you. I have been having really good luck, and I have stuck to this routine pretty strictly, and it's been working really well for me. So let me know if you have good luck with it. I'm super excited for you to try some of these tips and hacks. Let me know. But thank you guys so much, as always, for hanging out with me for a little bit during one of my videos. I do appreciate you. And I love you guys bunches. I will talk to y'all soon and see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.